Hey there. Welcome to my behind-the-scenes companion for my furry names video. Now, I will not give you the hilarity of thinking that I'm some sort of master filmmaker here. This is not some how-to or how you should do it. Think of this as just me talking about a technique or something I tried for this particular video. And maybe it might help you. Maybe it's an idea you can use yourself. And as I'm learning to make these videos, well, I'll share the things that I sort of develop as I go. Also, this is a craven attempt to repurpose footage for a second video to stretch out my content stream because, well, the other videos I may take a while. Anyway, intro over. So this video, I'm talking about what I call the fake 2-camera setup. And I use this throughout the entire Furry Names video. I've sort of dabbled in this before, but this was the first time I intentionally tried to use this technique. And the idea here is that I really only have one camera to use at a time, but by my shot selection and planning out the same sort of 2 shots for all of the video, I can properly switch between them to fake the 2-camera look. You'll notice through the video that 99% of the footage is either of a medium shot, sort of waist up, I guess, if you will, or a medium close, to a close, probably a medium close. I have never been to film school, so I'm just sort of winging this stuff. The medium shot was for the practical consideration of having room on the side for graphics. If you look at my Making Friends at Furry Conventions video, you'll see me often awkwardly trying to sneak all the graphics around me. And the second shot, the medium close or the close-up, is for emphasis. So when I want to either pause for emphasis, make some sort of offhanded joke, or anything like that, I can switch to that angle. Same angle approximately, but different shot. And there was also this third one. I originally filmed this, and I did it for the entire segment. I looked at it and said, it's just not going to work out. And I was trying to go for that card theme for later on, for the whole combinatorics part. But I realized it was going to be so narrow in its usage. But also more importantly, it made everything so busy in the foreground and background, I really couldn't put graphics on top of it. So I would have to film the other segment entirely, and then it would switch back and forth between me in front of a table and away from the table. So I decided, okay, let's use it as like a 1-time or 2-time sort of cutaway gag shot and not use it for the rest of it. Now, if you're thinking that I just sat there and, cropped in the video for these 2 things, well, no. These are actually 2 completely different video feeds. And if you watch carefully between the medium and the medium close, you'll notice that I do occasionally move position a little bit. My hands are not where they were before. The technique I am using here is called an axial cut. And film bros will jump all over this because on any discussion of axial cuts, from looking online, any discussion of axial cuts will always get the film bros in there like, that's not an axial cut. I can see a difference in shadow. Your shadow is 1 degree higher in the second shot, therefore you've lowered the camera. Besides, it's only an axial cut if it comes from the axial region of France. Otherwise, it's a sparkling jump cut. Film YouTube would be great if it wasn't for film bros, but that is an entirely different and very long discussion for a future video. But the trick here, and the benefit of the axial cut here, is A, it lets me sort of vary the shot for variety's sake, because having me talk at medium for the entire thing would get really, really boring. And B, it hides jump cuts. This comes a lot in handy, for instance, when after I filmed it, I decide that a particular section of, audio isn't working, or I don't need it, or it's redundant. This lets me cut it. And if you cut it the other way, it produces a jump cut. And this is actually an interview technique as well. Like interviewers use a 2-camera technique all the time to cut gaps in the footage. Like, the part where an interviewer is umming and ahhing or thinking about an answer. They either cut back to the person doing the interview, or they cut to a different angle to hide the fact that they cut sections out to avoid jump cuts. And in my case, if I want to get rid of a section, I can do it by switching to the close, and it hides the jump cut. As an aside, there is nothing wrong with jump cuts, especially in the YouTube era. Dan Olson, aka Folding Ideas, has a great video on jump cuts, and why they're here to stay, and why they're normal, and how they can even be used to effect instead of just a product of just cutting together stuff to be more quick. And it's a great video. I'll put a link on that one. The benefit of this as well is twofold, because if you're using, two cameras for the same shot, if you screw up something or you have to adjust your fursuit head or anything else like that, or, you just get something a little bit off or you don't like how you reacted, you've got a second take to work with. And the second reason, and this is slightly more pragmatic, is that if I screw up one of the takes, I can switch to the close. So having two cameras filming the same thing, well, you can, but the screw up's in both of them. But this way, if let's say, for instance, there's a part early in the video where I realize that I'm not sure my fursuit head's on right, or the chest isn't covered right, I'm adjusting the suit or whatever, so I shift to medium close, and it covers that while I'm adjusting. So the fake two camera setup is a really useful thing for editing stuff together. And, if you're going to end up getting multiple takes, you might as well do them at different angles to avoid the jump cuts. And in the editor, what I do is I line them all up over top of each other using the scratch audio from the camera to make sure everything's timed okay. By the way, pro tip, put a beep track in front of your audio before you start, because it's always so easy to line up those little beeps from the actual audio versus what your camera picked up. Just saying. And then once I line them over top of each other, I do it once. I set the color grade for that entire take. I can cut pieces of the main shot, and the close and the medium close is underneath. So it makes it really easy to edit once you line it up once for the entire shot, and these are all like long takes. I'm sure there's cool speed editor tricks for doing this faster, switching between the two shots. But again, I'm new at all of this. So this all came from a previous attempt of mine, and I was trying to repurpose general hand-wavy talking shots and saying, well, if I just wave my hands for 10 minutes straight in 3 different angles, and then I sit there and fudge around the video, around the audio to match it, I can just use the same clips over and over again. And of course, that didn't look good. I was working on one of these videos trying to do this, and I said, I've just spent 10 minutes trying to find the right 30 seconds of clip. Why don't I just film the damn thing? It would have been faster. And the answer is that it absolutely was faster. And I probably will eventually find some more cheats to use a slightly less camera time for the face because, well, it's not a moving mouth. I mean, let's be honest, how much does it really help or not? I don't know. One thing for sure I'll mention is you will fully expect me to be partialing much more in future videos. For each one of these takes, I usually get out of the suit to adjust the lights, stop the video, stop the lights, set up everything for the next shot. And that's definitely showing wear and tear. You can definitely see it on the zipper area. The front chest is really messy in that video and I don't like it. Mostly because I kept getting in and out of the suit. And the last thing you do before, usually I start the camera and then I quickly pull the suit on and zip up and get into it to make sure, because it's hard to move around when you're in a cramped shooting environment. So usually it was the last thing I did was suit up right before, I suited up with the camera rolling sometimes. And it's obviously taking a lot of wear and tear in the front zipper. So, it'll probably be a partial. So expect lots of exciting wardrobe changes in the future. And hey, I'll do my best to make sure those wardrobes are thematic as well. Stay tuned. So what did we talk about today? We talked about my fake 2-camera setup. We talked about axial cuts. We talked about sort of editing that together and why I do it that way. And to expect more wardrobe changes for the future of my videos. Hopefully that was illuminating. Stay tuned in the future for some more polished videos and not these behind the scenes talks. Anyway, talk to you later. Thanks everyone.